Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Simon here for the Aether Hub again, bringing you more Magic the Gathering lore. In today's video, I'm going to cover the final chapter from Rivals of Ixalan. With this story, we're wrapping up all the loose ends, saying goodbye to Ixalan, at least for now, and heading off towards Dominaria. In our last story, Jace shared with Vraska all of his knowledge on Nicol Bolas, including a vision of the Elder Dragon destroying the plane of Ravnica. The two came up with a plan that involved Jace suppressing her memories of all the events that occurred on Ixalan, implementing false ones, and turning Vraska into a sleeper agent. Very Phyrexian of him. This was done to ensure that Bolas never finds out what actually occurred on Ixalan. The dragon would get his prize, the immortal sun, and hopefully won't ask too many questions, nor have reason to believe that anyone messed with Vraska's mind. With that, Jace left Vraska, turning himself invisible just before she came out of her trance, and the Gorgon Planeswalker summoned Tezzeret to pick up the immortal sun, removing the binding magic of Ixalan and planeswalking away. Now we're going to see the resolution of all these plots and events coming together from previous stories. Huatli, able to planeswalk for real for the first time in her life, finds herself in that golden city that she believed to be Orazca when her spark first ignited during a fight with Angrath. She's in the city of Gatewatch on the plane of Kaladesh, and it's immediately overwhelmed with joy. This was the first plane that she saw when her spark had ignited, originally misinterpreting it as the Golden City of Orazca, and now, with the binding of Ixalan removed, she finally managed to planeswalk and visit this strange new world. She wandered around, observing and absorbing all the new wonders of this world, and everywhere she went, people would compliment her armor. Eventually, she found herself watching a presentation of a new device that was meant to ease the pain that Aetherborn experienced when passing away. Suddenly, a young woman tugged on her sleeve and asked her where she came from. This woman was Saheeli Ray, a planeswalker native to Kaladesh, quickly revealing her true nature to Huatli. Huatli was glad to meet a fellow planeswalker, and upon being asked what Ixalan was like, she described it the best way she could, through a medium that served her well in the past. A poem. By her description, this poem was Ixalan. It is a land as bright as the sun, the air thick with light, the soil dark with life, endless trees coat endless vistas, and dinosaurs answer the songs of my people. Saheeli was confused at first because she didn't know exactly what these dinosaurs Huatli was talking about were, but she was pretty excited about possibly building one. Together, the two planeswalkers happily left for Saheeli's workshop, where Huatli will tell her about the dinosaurs on Ixalan. Do you guys understand what this means? Saheeli is an artificer that can bring her artifacts to life. In fact, Kaladesh is teaming with artificial animal bionics. With Huatli being an expert on dinosaurs, it looks like we're gonna get Dinobots in Magic the Gathering. Next time we make the trip back to Kaladesh, it's gonna be full-blown war for Cybertron over there. Probably the most touching moment of this story is Angrath arriving back home. His hometown was just as he'd remembered it. It was dusty with many shops and an overall quiet atmosphere. A welcome change from the rowdy Ixalan. Angrath made his way to a shack at the far end of the town. His shack. There, to his overwhelming joy, he found his daughters, reuniting with them for the first time in years. With tears in his eyes and a wide smile on his face, Angrath proclaimed that he was home. Vraska left Ixalan as soon as Tezzeret took away the immortal sun and found herself back home on Ravnica. It felt good to finally be back home, to relax a bit from her adventures, but the relaxation wouldn't last. There was a letter waiting for her, a letter with only 2 words spelled on it, in a very familiar handwriting. It read, Meditation Plane. She took her time, no need to rush, unpacked her things, and put on a new change of clothes before planeswalking away. Bolas was waiting for her, anxious to learn about what had transpired on Ixalan. Vraska willingly let him into her mind, and Bolas searched every inch, making sure nothing was missing. Now, I could talk about how silly it is that Nicol Bolas, a being so powerful that he effortlessly shatters Kefnet, a god's mind, the mind of a god that was literally made out of blue mana ley lines, yet in this case he managed to not notice that anything was off. Despite how skilled Jace might be, I kinda have my reservations about this one, but for the story's sake, let's just go on with it. As Bolas went through her memories, so did she. She had remembered reaching Orazca on her own. She had remembered Azur rampaging through the city, and most importantly, she remembered using the blessing of Orazca to turn Azur and many others into solid gold. This made Bolas very, very happy. So happy, in fact, that he was literally gleaming with joy. This can't be good. You know something has seriously gone wrong when Bolas is happy. Also, interesting side note, this means that the card Golden Demise is actually a false memory, not something that actually happened in the story. Pretty interesting how a memory implanted by Jace turned into an actual card in Rivals of Ixalan. The Elder Dragon congratulated Vraska for her service and was, in fact, uncharacteristically pleased and happy. We haven't seen Bolas like this in a long time. He magically manifested something in her pocket before telling her that he would very much like to work with her again. Vraska simply told the dragon that he knows where to find her, and in wasting no time, planeswalked away back to Ravnica. Upon arriving there, she felt as if something was off. It was like she was forgetting something very important, but for the life of her she couldn't remember what. She quickly dismissed the feelings and pulled a paper out of her pocket. It listed a location in a scarcely populated corner in Ravnica, along with the words, quote, "He is alone and imprisoned here. Congratulations, Guild Leader Vraska." Vraska smiled as she pondered, what will she say to Jarad before turning him into stone? So in case you guys aren't aware, Jarad is the guild leader of the Golgari, and apparently Nicol Bolas has roughed him up a little bit and left him somewhere for Vraska to finish the job. In essence, Vraska will be the new guild leader of the Golgari, and that's what she was promised from Nicol Bolas for completing his job on Ixalan. It's actually a complete shame that Jarad's gonna die this way. He's an extremely well-developed character and very important in the original Ravnica novels. Since then though, he's barely had any lines or mention in the lore, and now he's basically gonna get killed off-screen. Oh well, it's how it goes, I guess. Jace found himself alone. Tezzeret, Vraska, and the Immortal Sun were gone. The only ones left were the latest to arrive, a pirate siren, Malcolm, and the Goblin Breeches. Jace said goodbye to his former crewmates and sent them on their way, ready to planeswalk to Dominaria, the rally point for the Gatewatch. However, he found himself pausing, hesitating, his mind drifting through a stream of memories. He thought of Vraska, his promise of joining her for coffee and a book, her sacrificing a part of herself for Ravnica. In his eyes, she was a remarkable individual, and in her eyes, he was too. He hoped that one day he and Vraska could return to Ixalan and have more adventures with their crew, but that would have to wait. What about the Gatewatch though? How was Jace going to explain all this to them? What if they had already left Dominaria? Even worse, what if he ran into Ugin? How is he going to explain to Ugin what he did to Azur, and how infuriating it felt to be used by the Spirit Dragon in hopes of luring Nicol Bolas to Ixalan and trapping him there? Was everything that Ugin did for the sole purpose of defeating Bolas? If so, Jace was adamant to tell the dragon that it was time to step up his game because this certainly wasn't enough. All of those questions would have to wait. Jace couldn't delay his reunion with the Gatewatch any longer. He stepped into the Blind Eternities for the first time in a long time and focused on Gideon's signal on Dominaria. But just as he was about to planeswalk away, the signal started to move. It moved faster and faster, faster than anything Jace had ever seen. He wondered just how Gideon was moving so fast. It took a lot of effort for Jace to planeswalk onto a moving object, but somehow he did it, and he found himself in a room filled with people he didn't recognize. Hearing all the commotion, Gideon stepped into the room, only to find Jace happily proclaiming that he's not dead. Just as the two were about to hug it out, an elderly woman, presumably Jaya Ballard, stepped between them. She took a good look at Jace before turning to Gideon and asking him, just who the hell is this bookworm? And that leaves us with Ixalan itself. Well, we briefly learn that Aptazek, the Emperor of the Sun Empire, didn't care for Huatli's proposal to make peace with the River Heralds. He used his army to conquer the Golden City, reclaiming it once again for the Sun Empire. With the continent of Ixalan now fully under their control, it's time to expand, and the first stop in their conquest is gonna be the continent of Torazan, the home of the Legion of Dusk. And that, you guys, is going to be the conclusion of Rivals of Ixalan and the overall Ixalan story arc. I want to know what you guys thought about this block of lore in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe for more, and of course share it across the multiverse. As always guys, thank you all so much for watching. I'm Simon, and I'll see you again next time here on the Aether Hub. You just watched one of the hundreds of videos we have here on the Aether Hub dedicated to the lore of Magic the Gathering. If you enjoyed the content, why not consider joining me in the Vorthos army? Support the Aether Hub and the Vorthos community here on YouTube by visiting and considering a pledge on our Patreon page at patreon.com/aetherhub, or by checking out the link in the description below. You'll be supporting the biggest and best MTG lore content channel on YouTube, and ensuring you get the content you want 3 to 4 times a week. Along with joining the Vorthos army, you'll also get premium signed cards from me every month, legendary creatures and cards of story significance we cover right here on the channel. You also get to see some of my side projects and even suggest topics for future videos as we interact on my Patreon feed. So, consider joining the Vorthos army today. This is where lore truly lives.